Hello, in this video I'm going to be talking about the writing process. So there are 4 steps in the writing process. You have pre-writing, drafting, revising, and editing and proofreading. So the first stage is pre-writing, and this is the stage where you generate ideas for your essay. Stuff doesn't have to be in complete sentences. It doesn't have to make sense necessarily to me, but it has to make sense to you. You're essentially word vomiting from your brain onto the page. There are several different ways that you can pre-write. I give you 3 examples here, and I'm going to show you some examples in just a second. So free writing, this is when you set a timer for yourself, like 10 to 15 minutes. You pick your topic and you write about that topic for however long your timer is set for, without stopping. So if you picked the topic like global warming, you would set a timer for like 10 minutes and sit down and just write everything you know about global warming for 10 minutes. So that's what free writing is. You can also do brainstorming, and this is when you essentially just make a list of everything that comes to mind. It's sort of like free writing, but it's less structured, and you don't have a timer. So you just write your topic down and then sort of list everything that you know about it. Branching, I'm going to show you branching or clustering. That is this right here. So you make like your main point and then you branch off into different areas. I'll show you another example. So that's what clustering looks like. My favorite way to pre-write is to do an outline. So you just write like 1 introduction, 2 body, 3 conclusion, and you just sort of fill out your essay this way. And I like doing this because I don't have to write in, again, you don't have to write in complete sentences. And so my essay is sort of done once I complete an outline. I just sort of have to fill in the blanks and actually write in complete sentences and paragraphs and like put it into essay form. But all of my information is laid out where it needs to be. But all of that to say, you can pre-write in any way that you desire. You do have to submit your pre-writes, so just keep that in mind. It needs to be tangible in a way that can be submitted. If you want to do it on paper, you can take a picture of it on your phone and send that to me. You can do the same thing with like if you want to like record yourself talking about your topic instead of writing it out, you can do that as well. You can pre-write in any way that you want to. Just keep in mind that you have to turn it in. So after pre-writing comes step 2, which is the drafting process. This is when you put your thoughts into an essay form. And then we have the revising stage, and this is where you make sure your essay sounds like you want it to sound. In this stage, you shouldn't worry about grammar. Instead, you concern yourself with making sure you have enough details, your sentences make sense, everything is organized properly. And you should stay in this stage until your essay sounds perfect to you. So in this stage, I always really recommend that people read their essays out loud. Reading your essay out loud forces your brain to slow down. So when you read quietly to yourself, especially something that you personally have written, your brain sort of fills in the gaps for you. Even if something doesn't make sense or isn't written quite right, your brain knows what you or whoever is trying to say, so it fills in those gaps. When you read it out loud, it forces your brain to slow down, and your brain can no longer fill in those gaps. So you're really going to notice those areas where you're like, man, this sentence doesn't make sense at all, or or where a sentence could be too long or too confusing, or maybe you don't have a transition, things like that. It will help you, reading out loud will help you notice those. So that's stage 3, the revision process. So you've drafted your essay up, you're revising it until it sounds perfect for you, to you. At this point, you will submit your rough draft. And then we will move on to the proofreading and editing stage. And this is the stage where we're going to correct grammar errors like run-on sentences, comma splices. We're going to peer review in this stage. So your peers are going to look at your essay, and I have a document of peer review questions. I'll ask about like introduction, thesis statement, body paragraphs, conclusion, MLA formatting. We'll look at all of those things during peer review. And I will give you some feedback on your essays as well. And then you will tidy up your essay based on everybody's comments, and you'll submit a final draft. So, pre-writing and drafting tips. Don't worry about grammar, spelling, and punctuation in pre-writing and in your rough, and don't worry about it too much in your rough draft, but worry about it a little bit in your rough draft. In pre-writing, don't worry about your organization. That comes later, and don't expect it to be perfect for the first time. I had an instructor tell me one of my bachelor's degrees is in journalism, and one of my journalism instructors always told us, you do not have to be a good writer, but you have to be a good editor. So that's what I mean when I say don't expect it to be perfect the first time. It's not going to be perfect the first time. The first draft of anything is usually not very great. That is where the editing, the proofreading, and the revising come in. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be perfect the first time. We can fix it. You just have to get something on the page. Proofreading tips. Read your essay out loud or have somebody read it to you. You can also put it into like certain like AIs or like Google Translate and have it read to you. You can read your essay backwards, one sentence at a time, or you can review once for each type of error. So you can like review your essay looking specifically for run-on sentences, and then review it looking specifically for sentence fragments, and so on and so forth. So those are some tips for pre-writing and writing and proofreading. And that is basically the writing process, all 4 steps of it. So pre-writing and drafting and revising you will do before you ever submit anything, and then you will submit a rough draft, and we will do editing and proofreading sort of together when we do peer review, and then you will tidy up your essay and submit a final draft. So if anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns about the writing process, just let me know. Thanks.